Hey everyone, I'm Hannah, founder of My Intuitive Health, and my mission is to literally pump more lightness and fun into both your health and life. And we do that beginning in the kitchen. We're gonna make one of my favorite 15-minute recipes. It is lemon pesto spaghetti squash with artichokes, sun-dried tomatoes, some goat cheese. Super simple. So, my favorite part about this recipe is that you don't have to use the oven. We're actually gonna microwave this spaghetti squash. And so the way that you do that is that you take a fork, easy, and just like kind of stab it a bunch of times. So after you do this, put it into the microwave for like 7 minutes, give or take. The reason why we're poking the holes is just to, like I said, give the air so that it doesn't explode. And if that happens, that's okay, because it's happened to me once, and I was on camera teaching a live class. It was really funny. And so we'll do that for 6 minutes and then check on it. Okay, so I like to check on it halfway through just to kind of see where we're at, because every spaghetti squash is a different size. Some are smaller, some are bigger, so it might take a little bit longer depending. And so this is still pretty firm, and it should be, because right now it's about halfway done cooking. I'm just poking a couple more holes, and I'm gonna put it back into the microwave for another 7 minutes. Okay, so in the meantime, we can make our lemon basil pesto. It's super simple. You start with like a cup of fresh basil, and I just kind of take the stems in one hand and just rip off the leaves and place them into my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can use a high-speed blender. If you don't have either, it's store-bought pesto, and that's totally fine. And then we're gonna add some fresh garlic. If you're a garlic lover, add 2 cloves. If you're like medium about garlic, just add 1. I'm gonna do 2. So you just take the flat side of your knife with the palm of your hand and just smash like that. And then it loosens up the garlic clove. Do that again. And add that in. Some pestos traditionally have pine nuts, which you totally could use, but I like to use whatever nuts I have on hand, and today happened to be walnuts. So I'm gonna add about 1/3 of a cup. This is obviously heaping, so roughly. This just helps to kind of emulsify everything, keep it creamy, and blend it together. A little twist that we're doing on this pesto, right? It's a lemon pesto, so we're gonna add some lemon juice. It adds such a nice brightness and burst of flavor. So I'm gonna do the juice of half a lemon, salt and pepper, always, always. This is where you get to be all chef-like and just kind of give it a dash. Second to last ingredient, we're almost there, is honey. This is optional, but I find just like a teaspoon really helps to balance the acidity from the lemon and the bitterness from the olive oil. And we're gonna add, I'd say about 1/3 of a cup if we're measuring, but I don't love to measure, so. Then we just blend it. Okay, so we just blended it. This is our first whirl around, and I'm just kind of scraping down the sides, and then what I always do, and encourage you to do as well, is just taste it. Oh, that's so good. But I'll tell you what I'm tasting. I'm tasting a little, like, not dullness, but it needs salt, is what it needs. And so I'm just gonna do a pinch of salt and a little honey. And this is how we taste as we go. And the more you do this, the more you practice, the more you intuitively know what to add, so you don't have to like so strictly follow a recipe. It's good now. Okay, so this is done now. It's been in total of like 12 minutes. And you know it's done because now I'm stabbing the fork and you can see it's like actually going through really easily. It's not as like tough as it was at the beginning, and it's hot. So do you see how much easier that was to cut in a squash that's already been microwaved? I love microwaving it. This is perfect. I'll just let this cool for a minute or 2 before we start scooping. Okay, so now we've cut it in half, we scooped out the seeds, super easy. It's still kind of hot, but whatever, we're just gonna go with it. And so now you just need 2 forks, and we're literally going to shred the squash into spaghetti. And it's super easy. Your kids could even help you with this. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is just transfer the spaghetti squash shreds into a pot. So just scooping both of these in. Easy. Okay, so we have our spaghetti squash in our pot. Now we're just gonna turn the heat on low. Nothing really has to cook here. We're just adding it all to the pot. First thing, canned artichokes. I'm just gonna cut these guys in half. And these are a pantry superstar because you can keep them in your pantry for like years. They don't go bad, and it just adds some nice like meatiness without meat. And then from there, we're gonna add another pantry pull, sun-dried tomatoes. So I'm just gonna take some of these and just add it right into the pot. Okay, so we have our spaghetti squash, artichokes, sun-dried tomatoes, and now we are just going to pour in that pesto that we made earlier. So just pouring enough over just to coat it all evenly. So we'll just give this a nice stir. Give it a pinch of salt and pepper. And then we want to add in some cheese. And this is, you know, all of these ingredients that we're adding are super versatile. Like this is just what I had on hand today, so this is what I'm using. Okay, so I just added in some goat cheese, which I like because it's creamy but also has a little bit of a tang. And then some parmesan. And you know, it's kind of like a pasta dish, so I feel like the parmesan goes. This is like a nice salty, nutty type of cheese, so it works. Okay, and now we're just stirring that. Oh my gosh, look how good that looks. Okay, now the fun part, we get to plate. It's like literally, this looks like it came out of a restaurant in Italy, right? Now we just have to give it a taste. It's so creamy. And also you get like that burst of freshness from the lemon pesto and a little chewiness from the sun-dried tomato. Love it. And the thing about making healing, healthy foods like this, like it's really not complicated. Like that literally just took us 15 minutes, right? If you're someone like, if you know yourself and you know that like you thrive with live accountability and community and more like hands-on guidance to really like sustain this like lightness and fun around cooking, check out one of my upcoming programs. Those programs are really where you get to integrate that so that it becomes intuitive, right? My intuitive health. Because health shouldn't be heavy. Like it should never feel like that. I always want it to feel fun. If you're interested in that, check out my upcoming offers and I hope to cook with you soon.